Hi, I'm Andy and I know containers. Born and raised in Germany, now in Australia. Alright, here we go. Part 3 of the 25 most asked questions about shipping containers. If you're still with me, you're serious about getting this right, and that's exactly who I'm making this for. Let's go to the final 9 questions. What shouldn't I store in a container? Standard containers are not designed for flammable or toxic goods. No fuel, gas bottles or solvents, especially in the heat. Also avoid organics, wet items and anything that can rot or release gas. For anything hazardous, there are dedicated dangerous goods containers with built-in ventilation, containment mats and spill protection designed for compliance and safety. How much does a container weigh? And can I move it myself? So a 20-foot container weighs around 2.2 tons and often less than a modern SUV or ute. A 40-foot container comes closer to 4 tons. What is a lockbox and why should I avoid cheap padlocks? A lockbox is a steel cover welded over the padlock area. It hides the lock and makes it almost impossible to reach it with bolt cutters. Most cheap padlocks are too weak, they can be broken with a hammer or with a crowbar. We recommend proper stainless steel monoblock locks. It's much safer, and if you want your container secure, this is the baseline. How can I safely connect 2 containers together? So vertically, use stacking cones or twist locks between corner castings. Horizontally, connect with bridge fittings or steel clamps. If you're building a home or taking structural loads, you'll need a permanent method like welding or support frame. Just placing them together isn't structurally secure in that case. What useful accessories exist and don't require bolting or modification? What we like is snap-in ramps, modular racking systems and magnetic LED lights. These make the container more practical without drilling or damaging anything. Works great for flexible storage and for workspace setups. What if I no longer need my container? No worries, we buy it back. If the container isn't in decent condition, we'll offer you a fair market price. Easy exit and no hassle for you. How high is the door opening and why doesn't my shelf fit? Because the door height is lower than the full container height. On a high cube it's only around 2.58 meters and not the full 2.69 meters internal height. The door frame sits lower by design. Usually count with 10 to 11 centimeters to the internal ceiling height. Always measure the opening, not the outside. How long does a container last? Much longer than most people think. A standard steel container, if kept off ground and properly maintained, can easily last 50 to 100 years. Even used containers have often decades of service left in them, especially if they're repainted and kept dry. They're built to handle by the sea, so land use is a walk in the park. So the last question is a fun fact to wrap it up. It just looks like a steel box, right? But for example, a 20-foot container consists of more than 120 individual components, and that's not even counted with the screws. Floorboards, cross members, corner castings, locking rods, hinge sets, vents, stiffeners, seal kits, and so on. It's more like a puzzle than a box. Proper engineering and not just a door slapped on. So that's wraps up the top 25. If you learned something new or if this helped you avoid costly mistake, give it a share. If you're ready to get started, modify your box, or just wanted straight advice from someone who's been doing this for 15 years, go to shipping-containers.com.au. See you in the next one.